श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जाय नित्य प्रविष्णु विष्णुपार अश्वतर शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज शिल गुरुदेव की जाय नित्य प्रविष्णु विष्णुपार अश्वतर शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोस्वामी महाराज की जाय नित्य प्रविष्णु विष्णुपार अश्वतर शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज शिल प्रभुपाद की जाय नित्य प्रविष्णु विष्णुपार अश्वतर शतश्मार भक्ति विज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय नित्य विष्णु विष्णुपार अश्वतर शतश्मार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय नित्य विष्णु महाभागवत शिल गोक्षर बाबाजी महाराज की जाय नित्य विश्व शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय नित्य विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जाय श्री रूपानुग गौरिया गुरु वार्ग की जाय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल पतिदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जाय श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाय नाम चय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाय सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जाय श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय सारार्थ-दार्शिनी वृत्ति की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल राजभुवन यादव रसेश्वरी माता जी Kishori Mohan Prabhu, Radhe Radhe, and Indira Mataji, and Bhavatarani Mataji. Dhanyavad pranam everybody. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatne Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminitti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सार्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्तो यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम् नष्टप्रायेष्वद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमं चरणान्तिकम् भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Madar Prabhu. Hey, Dom. Whoa. How's it going? Hari Hari. And Gargraj ji. And Madhavi Didi. And Pradyumna Prabhu. And Mantramurti Mataji. Hare Krishna, everybody. Long time since I've heard from you, Dom. I have to get back in touch. All right. So I am going to continue on from where we left off yesterday. For me, it's been a 2-day gap, but you've been hearing every day because I did pre-recorded videos. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to read from this part. Once Narad Muni wanted to see Lord Krishna's diverse activities in his unique family situation with more than 60,000 queens in Dwarka. Thus, arriving in Dwarka, Narad entered different palaces where he saw Krishna engaging in various activities like receiving guests, playing dice, caressing infant children, performing fire sacrifices, feeding Brahmins, chanting Gayatri Mantra, sleeping, consulting with ministers, playing in water, and so on. Having seen all this, Narad offered prayers to Krishna, the performer of superhuman deeds. Krishna then honored the sage properly, and Narad departed, meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. God's eagerness to glorify his devotees. Once, a messenger came and informed Krishna that Jarasandha had captured 20,000 kings who were surrendered devotees of Krishna. Just then, Narad Muni came and informed Krishna that King Yudhisthira was seeking Krishna's permission and presence for performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. Omniscient Uddhav to determine which of the two matters should be attended to first. Knowing the heart of Krishna, Uddhav advised Krishna to go to King Yudhisthira, whose Rajasuya sacrifice would fulfill both of the purposes eventually. Lord Krishna went to Indraprastha with his queens. To perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, Yudhishthira had sent his brothers to conquer the various directions, who then brought back abundant wealth after defeating many kings except Jarasandha. Okay, so yeah, anyways, this is what we're reading about today. Haribol Sudevi Didi. Today's Makar Sankranti for you? For us here, isn't Makar Sankranti is on 15th January though, isn't it? It's either 14th January or 15th January every year. Yeah, yesterday I went to bathe in the Ganga as soon as I arrived here in Navadvip. Wait, what am I doing? All right, Sārārtha-darśinī. All right, so chapter 71. Let's see the last verse that we ended with. Okay, so through the messenger, right? Upon Yudhishthira sent this message, right? If I'm correctly. Last prayer they said, or no, it was the kings. Sorry, the kings that were trapped, the 20,000 kings that were trapped sent this message, right? Through the messenger. It said, "My dear Lord, you are this is the last, they wrote many things, but this is the last one. My dear Lord, you are the symbol of everything auspicious. Your transcendental name and fame is spread like a canopy all over the universe, including the higher, middle, and lower planetary systems. The transcendental water that washes your lotus feet is known in the higher planetary systems as the Mandakini River, in the lower planetary systems as the Bhagavati, and in the earthly planetary system as the Ganges. This sacred transcendental water flows throughout the entire universe, purifying wherever it goes. Shukadeva Goswami said, when his supporters, the Yadavas, objected to this proposal out of eagerness to defeat Jarasandha, Lord Keshav turned to his servant Uddhav and, smiling, addressed him with fine words. Personality of Godhead said, you are indeed our best eye and closest friend, for you know perfectly well the relative value of various kinds of counsel. Therefore, please tell us what should be done in this situation. We trust your judgment and shall do as you say. Shukadeva Goswami continued. Thus requested by his master, who, though omniscient, acted as if perplexed, Uddhav took this order upon his head and replied as follows. So now we come to chapter 71. So now, okay. Lord Krishna travels to 71. Lord Krishna travels to Indraprastha. One second, just want to check the comments. Okay. Vacha ityudiritam akarnya devarsher uddhavo bravit sabhyanam matamagyaya krishnasya cha mahamati. Shukadeva Goswami said, thus heard the statements of Devarshi Narad, and understanding the opinions of both the assembly and Lord Krishna, the great-minded Uddhav began to speak. Oh, sorry, was that Narad who spoke all that? I'm sorry, guys. I've been, when I read this last time, it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was super tired and out of it, so I wasn't really, Anyways, now we see Narad. Okay. Commentary. Sārārtha-darśinī Vritti by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. In this chapter, Krishna accepts Uddhav's advice and goes with his army and beloved queens to Indraprastha, part of New Delhi, where he delights all the inhabitants. Uddhav heard the statements and spoke after understanding the wishes of Krishna. Narad Muni, let me reread that. Uddhav heard the statements and spoke after understanding the wishes of Krishna, Narad Muni, the assembly members, and the messenger from the imprisoned kings. Uddhav is very intelligent because he could satisfy everyone by keeping their wishes intact. Specifically, Narad wanted Krishna to go to Indraprastha to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice. The assembly and the messenger wanted Krishna to kill Jarasandha, and Krishna wanted both. Shri Uddhav Uvacha Yaruktam Rishina Deva Sachivyam Yakshatastvaya Karyam Paitris Shvares Yasya Raksha Cha Sharanai Shinam. Shri Uddhav said, O Lord, as the sage advised, you should help your cousin fulfill his plan for performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. And you should also protect the kings who are begging for your shelter, all the 20,000 kings that had been imprisoned by Jarasandha. Commentary. Uddhav said, you should help Yudhishthir perform the sacrifice, which was mentioned by Narad. You should also protect those who desire your shelter by killing Jarasandha, which is the opinion of the assembly and the messenger. The messenger that the 20,000 imprisoned kings sent on their behalf. Yashtavyam rajasuyena dikchakra jaina vibho ato jara sutta jaya ubhayarto mato mama. Only one who has conquered all opponents in every direction can perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, O Almighty One. Thus, in my opinion, Conquering Jarasandha will serve both purposes. Commentary. The best strategy is that by which both purposes are achieved by a single act. That is expressed in this verse. Uddhav said, both purposes, completion of the Rajasuya sacrifice and protecting the kings, are accomplished by defeating Jarasandha. After all, without conquering all the directions, the Rajasuya sacrifice cannot occur, and without killing Jarasandha, one cannot conquer the directions. First, you should accept the invitation to the Rajasuya sacrifice. The request to protect the kings, on the other hand, will be fulfilled as a secondary result of fulfilling that first request. In this way, two aims will be achieved by a single act. Just checking the comments again. 1 second. Okay. Asmakam mahanartho yetenaiva bhavishyati yashascha tava govinda ragyo baddhan vimunchata. By this decision, there will be great gain for us, and you will save the kings. Thus, Govinda, you will be glorified. Commentary. Uddhav said, for us members of the assembly, there is great gain in your going to the Rajasuya sacrifice, for Jarasandha will be killed. Savai durvishaho raja nagayuto samo bale balinam apichanyesham samam balam vina. The invincible King Jarasandha is as strong as 10,000 elephants. Indeed, other powerful warriors cannot defeat him. Only Bhima is equal to him in strength. Commentary. Seeing that the Yadavas were extremely eager to immediately kill Jarasandha, Uddhav spoke this verse. Other warriors may be stronger, but they cannot defeat Jarasandha. Even though Bhima is only equal in strength, he can kill Jarasandha. I have previously deduced this from the Jyotirāga and other astrological scriptures I learned from Brihaspati. Dvairate satute jetavyo mashataksho hiniyuta brahmanyo bhyartito viprar na pratyakhyati karhichit. He will be defeated in a match of single chariots, not when he is with his 100 military divisions. Now, Jarasandha is so devoted to Brahminical culture that he never refuses requests from Brahmins. Commentary. Uddhav said, Jarasandha should be defeated by Bhima alone in single combat, because he cannot be defeated when he is joined by his army of 100 Akshohinis. But how could Jarasandha be persuaded to give up the support of a full army? Here, Uddhav gives the clue. Jarasandha will never refuse a request from Brahmins, since he is devoted to Brahminical culture. Brahma Veshadaro Gatva Tam Bhiksheta Vrikodara Anishyati Nasandeho Dvairate Tavasannidho. 1 second, I just want to get this mic a bit closer to my face. I have a little bit of an awkward setup here. Still working? This is a little bit. This is. There, that's much better. Okay, you can still hear me, right? Haribo. Okay. So Bhima should go to Jarasandha disguised as a Brahmin and beg charity. Thus he will obtain single combat with Jarasandha, and in your presence, Bhima will no doubt kill him. Commentary. Bhima should beg as charity a one-to-one fight with Jarasandha. Krishna objected, but since they are equal in strength, they are evenly matched, and thus neither is likely to win over the other. Uddhava replied, therefore, if Bhima fights in your presence, he will be able to kill Jarasandha. Nimitam param ishasya vishvasarga nirodhayo hiranyagarbha sarvascha kalasya kalasya rupinastava. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva act only as your instruments in cosmic creation and annihilation, which are ultimately done by you, the Supreme Lord, in your invisible aspect of time. Commentary. Krishna, but what will be the effect of my merely being present without doing anything? Uddhav replied, just as time alone creates and destroys the universes with Brahma and Shiva merely acting as instruments, so you alone will be killing Jarasandha simply by your presence, and Bhima will only be the instrument. Just as you do this for the glorification of Brahma and Shiva, so you will act only for the purpose of bestowing fame on Bhima. Gayanti te vishada karma Gayanti te vishada karma grihesha devyo Ragyam sashatru vadamatma vimokshanam cha Gopyasha kunjara pater janakajaya Pitroscha labda sharana munayo vayangcha. In their homes, the godly wives of the imprisoned kings sing of your noble deeds, about how you will kill their husband's enemy and deliver them. The gopis also sing your glories, how you killed the enemy of the elephant king Gajendra, the enemy of Sita, daughter of Janak, and the enemies of your own parents as well. So also do the sages who have obtained your shelter glorify you, as do we ourselves. Commentary. Though the devotees have already perfectly sung your glories in punishing the wicked and protecting the righteous, now, in killing Jarasandha, these will be even greater. This is expressed in this verse. Uddhav said, the wives of the kings imprisoned by Jarasandha sing about your splendid activities in their homes, while taking care of their children and performing other domestic chores. What are those activities? They sing about your future killings of Jarasandha of their husbands, having been informed of this by the omniscient sages. When their children cry for their fathers, their mothers tell them, child, do not cry. Sri Krishna will save your father. Uddhav gives an analogy. It is just as the gopis consoled one another by singing about the killing of their enemy Shankachura and their deliverance from captivity. O friends, be calm. Do not give up your lives by crying endlessly. That same one who saved us from the devouring tiger called Shankachura, that same ocean of compassion will remember us and save us from the snake bite of time, which has brought the great calamity of separation from him. Thus, in the same way, you should protect these ladies and reunite them with their husbands by killing Jarasandha. Then, after completing the Rajasuya sacrifice, and while returning here, you should secretly go to Vraj and save the gopis by giving them your company. Then we and others will sing of your glories. Having taken the opportunity, Uddhav gave the advice that was in his mind. Uddhav continued, moreover, just as the wives and gopis sing about you, the sages who have surrendered to you, the self-satisfied devotees, and we, your Dasya Bhaktas, will also sing your glories in the course of relishing our own relationships such as servitude. What are these glories? You killed the crocodile enemy of the king of elephants and delivered him. You killed Ravan, the enemy of Sita, and Kamsa, the enemy of your parents, and freed Vasudeva and Devaki. O fellow tapasvis, O friends, O ecstatic devotees, just as Krishna saved Gajendra from the crocodile, Sita from Ravan, and Vasudeva and Devaki from Kamsa by bestowing his personal darshan and granting them the particular devotional service they hankered for, so he will grant the same to us. Jarasandavada Krishna Bhoryarthayupakalpate Praya Paka Vipakena Tava Chabhimata Kratu. O Krishna, the killing of Jarasandha, which is certainly a reaction of his past sins, will bring immense benefit. Indeed, it will make possible the sacrificial ceremony you desire. Commentary. Uddhav said, killing Jarasandha will bring great benefits, namely protecting the kings, the killing of Shishupal, and executing the Rajasuya sacrifice which you desire to perform, and also the accomplishment of the goals which I have hinted at. With the completion of the Rajasuya sacrifice, the kings will be saved as a result of their piety, and Jarasandha will die as a result of his wickedness. The Medini dictionary says, Paka refers to a consequence or an infant, and Vipaka refers to cooking, perspiration, or the contrary result of an action. Uddhav used equivocal words, Paka Vipakena, so that the assembled Yadavs and Kauravs would not understand his intention. If we take the alternate reading of Papa Vipakena, it means, due to the consequence of the sins of Shishupal and others, they would die. The word praya, certainly, is used to express conjecture. Shishuka uvacha ityudavo vacho rajan sarvato bhadramachutam devarshir yaduvriddhascha krishnascha pratyapujayan. Shukadev Goswami said, O king, Devarshi Narad, the Yadu elders, and Lord Krishna all welcomed Uddhav's proposal, which was entirely auspicious and infallible. Commentary. The word achutam, infallible, indicates that Uddhav's proposal was fortified by logical reasoning. Furthermore, Shukadev Goswami specifically indicates by the term Yadu Vriddha that it was the senior members, not the junior ones, who welcomed the proposal. Young princes such as Aniruddha did not like Uddhav's proposal, since they were eager to fight Jarasandha's army immediately. Atadishat prayanaya Bhagavan Devaki Sutta Bhrityantaruka Jatradin Anugyapya Gurun Vibhu. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, the son of Devaki, begged his superiors for permission to leave. Then he ordered his servants, headed by Daruk and Jaitra, to prepare for departure. Commentary. Krishna took permission from the elders, such as Vasudev, and then ordered his servants to prepare for departure. Nirgamaya varodhan swan sasutan saparichadan sankarshanam anugyapya yaduraja shatruhan sutopanitam swaratham aruhar garuda dvajam. O slayer of enemies, after he had arranged for the departure of his wives, children, and baggage, and taken leave of Lord Sankarshan and King Ugrasen, Lord Krishna mounted his chariot, which had been brought by his driver. It flew a flag marked with the emblem of Garuda. Commentary. Krishna arranged for his wives to go along, since they had also been invited to the Rajasuya sacrifice and were eager to attend. Avarodhan means those who reside in the women's quarters. 14. Tatorata dvipa bhata sadinayakai karalaya parivritta atmasenaya vridanga bhairyanaka shanka gomukai praghosha ghoshita kakubo nirakramat. As the vibrations resounding from mridangas, bheris, kettle drums, conch shells, and gomukhas filled the sky in all directions, Lord Krishna set out on his journey. He was accompanied by the chief officers of his corps of chariot. Sorry, he was accompanied by the chief officers of his corps of chariots, elephants, infantry, and cavalry, and surrounded on all sides by his fierce personal guard. Commentary. Bhatta means infantry soldiers, and Sadi means cavalry. Together with the leaders of his chariot corps and surrounded by his own fierce army, Krishna went out of the city, wherein all the directions were filled with musical vibrations of horns and mridangas. Kakuba, a feminine form, is also seen sometimes. Kakuba mean though? It means all directions. Okay. Oh, Krishna. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. Okay. Nrivaji Kanchana. Nrivaji Kanchana Shiki Kabira. No. Nrivaji Kanchana Shiki Baran. Shiki Shibikabhirachutam. Sahatmajapatim Anusuvrattayayu. Parambara Bharana Vilepana Sarjasu. Susamvrita Nribhir Asicharma Panibi. Sorry, guys, I messed up that meter. Lord Achyuta's faithful wives, along with their children, followed the Lord on golden palanquins carried by powerful men. The queens were adorned with fine clothing, ornaments, fragrant oils, and flower garlands, and they were surrounded on all sides by soldiers carrying swords and shields in their hands. Commentary. The faithful queens followed their husband in golden palanquins carried by powerful men. Naroshtrago Mahishakara Shvataranya sorry. Karenubhi Parijana Vara Yoshita Swalankrita Kata Kutika Bharatya Aradyupekshkara Upaskara Yayu Adhiyuja Sarvata. I'm doing the wrong meter. Swalankrita Katakuti. Anyways, let's just continue on. On all sides proceeded finely adorned women attendants of the royal household, as well as courtesans. They rode on palanquins and camels, bulls and buffalo, donkeys, mules, bullock carts, and elephants. Their conveyances were fully loaded with grass tents, blankets, clothes, and other items for the trip. Commentary. The term Parijana Varayoshita, attendants of the royal household, includes washerwomen and other helpers. The huts were made of usita grass. Okay, let's see what the meter for this is. Balam Brihad Dvajapata Chatra Chamarar Varayudha Bharana Kiritavarmabhi Devangshubistumulavravam Pabhoraver Yatarnavakshubitatmingilormibhi. The Lord's army boasted royal umbrellas, chamar fans, and huge flagpoles with waving banners. During the day, the sun's rays reflected brightly from their soldiers' fine weapons, jewelry, helmets, and armor. Thus, Lord Krishna's army, noisy with shouts and clatter, appeared like an ocean stirring with agitated waves and timingilifish. Commentary. During the day, the army shone with the rays of the sun, displaying the splendor of their weapons, jeweled helmets, and glittering golden ornaments. Ato munir yadupatina sabhajita pranamyatar hridi vidadhar vihalyasa nishamyatar vyavasitam ahritarhano mukunda mukunda sadarashana nivritendriya nirvritendriya. Honored by Sri Krishna, the chief of the Yadus, honored by Sri Krishna, the chief of the Yadus, Narad Muni bowed down to the Lord. All of Narad's senses were satisfied by his meeting with Lord Krishna. Thus, having heard the decision of the Lord and having been worshipped by him, Narad placed him firmly within his heart and departed through the sky. Commentary. Narad departed by the path of the sky. Although the verb is missing, it is understood. Ajadutam uvachedam Bhagavan prinayam gira ma bhaishta dutabhadrangvo gata yeshyami gata yeshyami magadham. With pleasing words, the Lord addressed the message sent by the kings. My dear messenger, I wish all good fortune to you. I shall arrange for the killing of King Magadha. Do not fear. That's Jarasandha. Krishna said to the messenger, do not fear. I will kill Jarasandha. The phrase Ma Bhaishta, do not fear, is in the plural because Krishna is addressing both the messenger and the kings. Ityukta prastito, sorry. Ityukta prastito yatavad avadan nripan te pisandarshanam shore pratyakshan yan mamukshava. I have a feeling there's a mistake in the Sanskrit. I don't know though. Thus addressed, the messenger departed and accurately relayed the Lord's message to the kings. Eager for freedom, they then waited expectantly for their meeting with Lord Krishna. Commentary. The imprisoned kings eagerly waited for Krishna to liberate them. Anartha sovira marungs tirtva vinashanam hari girin nadir atiyaya purama vrajakaran. As he traveled through the provinces of Anartha, Sovira, Marudesha, and Vinashana, Lord Hari crossed rivers and passed mountains, cities, villages, cow pastures, and quarries. Commentary. Krishna passed through the provinces of Anartha, Sovira, Maru, and Kurukshetra as he crossed mountains, rivers, cities, villages, pastures, and quarries. Tato drisha dvating tirtva mukundo ta sarasvatim panchalan atamatsyangshcha Cakravartī atagamat. After crossing the rivers Drishadvati and Saraswati, he passed through Panchala and Matsya and finally came to Indraprastha. Tamupagatam akarnya prito durdarshanam nrinam ajata shatrur niragat sopadhyaya suhridvrita. King Yudhishthir was delighted to hear that the Lord, whom human beings rarely see, had now arrived. Accompanied by his priests and dear associates, the king came out to meet Lord Krishna. Gita Vaditra Goshena Brahma Goshena Bhuyasa Abhyayat Sahrishikesham Prana Pranam Ivadrita. As songs and musical instruments resounded along with the loud vibration of Vedic hymns, the king went forth with great reverence to meet Lord Rishikesh, just as the senses go forth to meet the consciousness of life. Commentary. As the senses follow the life airs, Yudhishthir went out to meet Krishna, Rishikesh, the lord of the senses. Drishtva viklina hridaya Krishnam snehena pandava chiradrishtam priyatamam sasvajetha puna puna. The heart of King Yudhishthir melted with affection when he saw his dearmost friend, Lord Krishna, after such a long separation, and he embraced the Lord again and again. Dorbhyam Dorbhyam parishvaja ramamalayam Mukunda gatram nripati hata shubha lebhe parang nirvritamashrulochano Hrishyat tanur vismritalokavi brahma. The eternal form of Lord Krishna is the everlasting residence of the goddess of fortune. As soon as King Yudhishthir embraced him, the king became free of all the contamination of material existence. He immediately felt transcendental bliss and merged in an ocean of happiness. There were tears in his eyes, and his body shook due to ecstasy. He completely forgot that he was living in this material world. Commentary. He embraced the limbs of Mukunda, which are the faultless shelter of all beauty. By this, he submerged in the bliss of prema, forgot all worldly pleasure, and crossed the ocean of birth and death. Tamatuleyam parirabhya nirvrito bhimasmayam prema jalakulendriya yamo kiriti chasuhritamam muda pravriddha bhashpa parire bhire chutam. Then Bhima, his eyes brimming with tears, laughed with joy as he embraced his maternal cousin, Krishna. Arjuna and the twins, Nakula and Sahadev, also joyfully embraced their dearmost friend, the infallible Lord, and they cried profusely. Arjunena, sorry, Arjunena parishvakto yama. Wait, what's the meter for this? Oh, whatever. Arjunena parishvakto yamabhyam abhivadita brahmanebhyo namaskritya vridebhyascha yatarhata manino manayamasa guru srinjaya kayan. After Arjuna had embraced him once more, Kula and Sahadev had offered him their obeisances, Lord Krishna bowed down to the Brahmins and elders present, thus appropriately honoring the respectable members of the Kuru, Srinjaya, and Kaikaya clans. Sutamagata Gandharva Vandinaschopamantrina Mridanga Shankita Patta Mridanga Shankapattaha Veena Panava Mukhai Brahmanashcharavindakshan Tushtuvur Nanritur Jagu. Sutas, Magadas, Gandharvas, Vandis, Jesters, and Brahmins all glorify the lotus-eyed Lord. Some reciting prayers, some dancing and singing. Some reciting prayers and some dancing and singing. As mridangas, conchals, kettle drums, veenas, panavas, and gomukhas resounded. I'm curious what panavas and gomukhas are, because we hear that a lot. Evam suhrid viparyasta punya shloka shikamani sangstuya manu bhagavan viveshalankritam puram. Thus surrounded by his well-wishing relatives and praised on all sides, Lord Krishna, the crest jewel of the justly renowned, entered the decorated city. Krishna entered the decorated city. Sangsikta Vartmakarina Madaganda Toyash. Oops. Okay. This is Samsikta Vartmakarinam Madaganda Toyash Chitra Dvajai Kanakatorana Kumbhai. Mrishtatmabir Navadukula Vibhushanasrag Kandar Nribhi Yuvati Bhishcha Virajamanam Udipta Dipa Balibhi Pratisarmajala Niryata Dhupa Ruchiram Vilasat Patakam Murdhanya Hema Kalashai Rajatoru Shringar Jushtam Dadarsha Bhavanai Kururajma. The roads of Indraprastha were sprinkled with water perfumed by the liquid from the elephants' foreheads, and colorful flags, golden gateways, and full water pots enhanced the city's splendor. Men and young girls were beautifully arrayed in fine new garments, adorned with flower garlands and ornaments, and anointed with aromatic sandalwood paste. Every home displayed glowing lamps and respectful offerings, and from the holes of the latticed windows drifted incense, further beautifying the city. Banners waved, and the roofs were decorated with golden domes on broad silver bases. Thus, Lord Krishna saw the royal city of the king of the Kurus. Commentary. The city of Indraprastha is described in 2 verses. Each house was splendid with rows of flowers and burning lamps, colorful flags, full water pots, and gold gateways, richly attired men and women, and clouds of fragrant incense streaming from the lattice windows. That description of incense streaming from lattice windows is very commonly given, isn't it? Krishna saw the city of the many palaces and sorry, Krishna saw the city and the many palaces and houses of the kings of the Kurus. How many verses are in this chapter? Just curious. 45. Okay. Prapamya naralochana panapatram otsukya vishlathita kesha dukula bandha sadhya visreja griha karmat chatalpe drashtum yayor yuvataya sma narendra marge. When the young women of the city heard that Lord Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure for human eyes, had arrived, they hurriedly went out onto the royal road to see him. They abandoned their household duties and even left their husbands in bed, and in their eagerness, the knots of their hair and garments came loose. Tasmin susan Tasmin sankula ibhashvarata dvipadbhi Krishnam sabharyam upalabhya gadirudha Naryo vikirya kusamar manasopaguhya suswagatam vidadhur utsmaya vikshitena. The royal road being quite crowded with elephants, chariots, and foot soldiers, the women climbed to the top of their houses, where they caught sight of Lord Krishna and his queens. The city ladies scattered flowers upon the Lord in their minds and expressed their heartfelt welcome with broadly smiling glances. Uchu striya patiniriksha mukunda patnis tarayato dupasaha kimakaryamubhi yachakshusham purushamolirudara Lilavaloka kalayotsavamatanoti. Observing Lord Mukunda's wives passing on the road like stars accompanying the moon, the women exclaimed, "What have these ladies done so that the best of men bestows upon their eyes the joy of his generous smiles and playful sidelong glances?" Commentary. The women are like the stars accompanying the moon. What piety has been performed by them? Tatra tatropasangamya panaya chakru saparyam krishnaya shreni mukhya hatainasa. In various places, citizens of the city came forward holding auspicious offerings for Lord Krishna, and sinless leaders of occupational guilds came forward to worship the Lord. Commentary. The heads of the various communities who earned their livings by particular arts worshipped Krishna. Antapura janai pritya mukunda pulalochanai sasam brahmar abhyupeta pravishar rajamandiram. With wide open eyes, the members of the royal household came forward in a flurry to lovingly greet Lord Mukunda, and thus the Lord entered the royal palace. Pretavilokya Pitravilokya Bhatreyam Krishnam Tribhuvaneshwaram Pritatmothaya Paryankat Sashnusha Parishashvaje. When King Prita saw her nephew Krishna, the master of the three worlds, her heart became filled with love. Rising from her couch with her daughter-in-law, she embraced the Lord. That's Kunti, Queen Kunti. Govindam grihamaniya deva deveshamadrita pujayam navidat krityang pramodo pahato nripa. King Yudhishthir respectfully brought Lord Govinda, the supreme god of gods, to his personal quarters. The king was so overcome with joy that he could not remember all the rituals of worship. Commentary. Overcome with joy, Yudhishthir forgot the proper details of worshipping Krishna. Pitrisvasur gurustrinam Krishna's chakre bivadanam Swayam cha Krishnaya rajan bhaginya chabivandita. Lord Krishna bowed down to his aunt and the wives of his elders, O king, and then Draupadi and the Lord's sister bowed down to him. Commentary. Draupadi and Subhadra then welcomed Krishna. Shvashriva Sanchodita Krishna Krishna Patnishcha Sarvasha Anarcha Rukminim Satyam Bhadrang Jambavating Tata Kalindim Mitravindang Cha Shaibhyam Nagnajitam Satim Anyashchabhyagatayastu Vasasran Mandanadibhi. Encouraged by her mother-in-law, Draupadi worshipped all of Lord Krishna's wives, including Rukmini, Satyabhama, Bhadra, Jambavati, Kalindi, Mitravinda, the descendant of Shibhi, the chaste Nagnajiti, and the other queens of the Lord who were present. Draupadi honored them all with as clothing, flower garlands, and jewelry. Commentary. Encouraged by her mother-in-law, Draupadi worshipped all of Krishna's queens. Sukam nivasayam asa dharmarajo janardanam sasainyam sanugalmaya King Yudhishthira arranged for Krishna's rest and saw to it that all who came along with him, namely his queens, soldiers, ministers, and secretaries, were comfortably situated. He arranged that they would experience a new feature of reception every day while staying as guests of the Pandavas. Commentary. Yudhishthira arranged for Krishna's stay there in such a way that each day was a new experience. Okay, these are the last two verses. Arpayitva khandavena vahnim falguna sangyuta mochayitva mayam yena rage divya sabhakrita uvasa katichin masan ragya priya chikirshaya viharan viharan ratanaruhya falgunena bhattarvrita. Desiring to please King Yudhishthir, the Lord resided at Indraprastha for several months. During his stay, he and Arjuna satisfied the fire god by offering him the Khandava forest, and they saved Mayadanava, who then built King Yudhishthir a celestial assembly hall. The Lord also took the opportunity to go riding in his chariot in the company of Arjuna, surrounded by a retinue of soldiers. Commentary. While Krishna resided in Indraprastha, he liberated Mayadanava from the forest fire. Out of gratitude, Mayadanava built a celestial assembly hall for Yudhishthir. Although these events were already related in chapter 58, Shukadeva Goswami repeats them due to his absorption in the topic. The chronological sequence is as follows. Krishna stayed in Indraprastha for the 4 months of the rainy season. During this time, Krishna burns the Khandava forest, won the Gandiva bow for Arjuna, and obtained Kalindi while hunting. Then Krishna returned to Dwarka, married Kalindi, Bhadra, and other queens, killed Naraka, and performed other deeds. Then Krishna was invited to the Rajasuya sacrifice. Thus ends the commentary on the 71st chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. So tomorrow we will read chapter 72, the slaying of the demon Jarasandha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Juki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Juki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashwata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Guru Dev Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashwata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashata Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashata Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Pravishta Mahabhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura Ki Jai Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Anugakariya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shard Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Nama Chai Shila Hari Das Ṭhākura ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय सार्व अविश्य विरत गिरिराज महाराज की जाय श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जाय श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जाय श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाय कृष्ण भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः Dandavat pranams everybody. See you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining. Jai Shri Radhe Haribol. I love how Indira Mataji always gives an appropriate emoji for each chapter. Haribol, everybody. Jai Shri Radhe.